Okay, let's get into this one right here. Well, there you have it, folks. The NBA players are dropping like flies. And your favorite YouTuber will not tell the truth about what's going on, folks. I guess they don't want to get in trouble by YouTube. So unfortunate. So let's talk about it. What's so funny about it? We're going into this in-season tournament, or we should say fake tournament, and these guys aren't even caring about this. I think this is the first day of the tournament and stuff like that. But group play, that's what they call it, group play. What is this, the Olympics or something? So like I said, I've always had a problem with this whole thing in the first place, this whole in-season tournament, but we can talk about that in a minute. But you already got guys. If you look on the schedule and you look at the injury report, you got all kind of guys out. You got all kind of guys game time decision, things like that. I mean, are we serious? Game time decision on what? I mean, either your what did you hurt? When did you hurt it? What do you mean game time decision? It's ridiculous what these players are doing. And what's up with like November? What's going on with the first week of November? All these players who are supposedly hurt, they're supposed to be coming back like, the first week of November, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 8th. I don't know if 8th is the first week, but you got all these times, like the 1st and 2nd week of November, whatever. What is up with that date? It's weird. But this is what it is, folks. So it seems like they don't really care too much about the NBA. All these Michael Jordan, all these Michael Jordan fans. I'm a Michael Jordan fan, but let's get real, guys. These YouTubers act like little children. Oh, Michael Jordan said this on NBC. I'm gonna run back and say what Michael Jordan's. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what Michael Jordan says, especially the players. Nobody. I guess you just want to say that for clicks and views. Nobody cares. For one, that's AI Michael Jordan. For two, Mike should have been stressing this a long time ago. If it really meant something. But like I said, he was an owner through all this madness that's been going on since since he owned the team in the 2000s and just sold the team not too long ago. So what is he talking about? Load management. He's been part of an owner that let these guys load manage. And also, like the one of the things I told you before, they don't want you to live in reality. The NBA, of course the NBA don't, but the YouTubers also don't want you to live in reality. They want to run back and tattletale on these guys, but act like they don't want you to live in reality. And the reality of it is, it's not like if these owners wanted to, long time ago, they could have been like, look, if you want to make this money, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, and you can't do that. But obviously, they never have. And obviously, they must encourage it because they've never stopped it, and it's getting worse. Everything they do is getting worse. The commissioner is making the game worse. You see the scores, they done ballooned out of control, right? Right? It's because they want them to play a fast-paced game. I don't know where this is really getting to. I don't get where this is getting to. I don't know. Ain't that funny though when you think about it? Because I was thinking about this one day. I said, you notice how time is everything is going so fast, right? And sometimes you might think, people was thinking maybe people say that when they get old or they get older or whatever like that, time seems to go by fast. But when you start talking to these young people, it's not the case. They even say time is going fast. So we know time is going fast, but one gauge, I won't say it's the only gauge, but I mean, because there's probably a lot of gauges that you can do to find out you're right. And one of the gauges I use, and I didn't, say, let me use this on purpose to find out that time is going by fast. But one of the things that I saw was me working out at the gym. So I don't know if you guys go to the gym, work out or whatever like that, but if you sit up there and you get on a timer, even if you're not on a timer, you're going to realize, I don't know why you wouldn't be if you're working out. I mean, I guess some people don't, but it's good to be so you can get your sets in the right way. But if you get on a timer, it don't have to be a stopwatch or nothing like that, but I'm just saying, even if you use just a regular clock, watch, whatever, your phone, and watch how fast time goes by. It seems like as soon as you put the weight down, you're picking the weight back up. You're like, golly, This shit's crazy. I just put the weight down. What do you mean it's time to pick it right back up? Where's the rest? And I start realizing that I'm not crazy. And, millions of people that are realizing these things about time going by faster than it, had in the past, they're not crazy neither. So that's one of the things, if you do work out, you'll probably, realize, like, as soon as you put the weight down, the rest in between, it's like time to pick it up again. So I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So, one thing I would suggest is that you get in tune with, fitness and health and nutrition, and especially nutrition. I don't care. You can lift weights all day, or, be in the fitness all you want. But if your nutrition ain't right, it really don't mean nothing, especially when you're older, right? When you're 35 and older. Might be whatever when you're young, you can deal with it. But even I wish when I was young I would have knew about nutrition. Now I knew about fitness, I didn't really know about nutrition. All I knew was eat a whole bunch of carbs and eat a whole bunch of protein, and that's it. That's all I knew about working out, health, and fitness. And I guess it's better eating cheeseburgers, but at some points in my life I could eat McDonald's and it didn't affect me. I could eat fast food and go to the gym, and we were doing all kind of crazy stuff. Nevertheless, get your nutrition and your fitness right, because what comes with time speeding up, guess what else speeds up? Disease. So disease in your body is also speeding up. So you want to reverse that by, dealing with nutrition, or good nutrition, and working out. Because people out here, they dropping and dying like flies, and time is going by fast, folks. So, another thing is too, a lot of people, they don't look their age anymore. You won't believe, I talk to some people that's like, somebody be like, oh, guess how old I am? And I'm like, I guess about 55, maybe 60. They're like, no, I'm 79. I'm like, really? I can't believe it. Like, you go by a high school and you see these high school kids walking outside the school, and you're like, are those elementary school kids? You can't believe it. They look so young now. So time is definitely speeding up. But yeah, man, this NBA right here, it's shameful. It's shameful. They don't care about this. They don't care about this fake in-season tournament. They're not showing up to games. And like I said, man, I just can't believe these guys are making this kind of money doing these kind of things, because you don't mess up something, especially people of color. We know we ain't gonna mess up nothing. Not that, if you're making millions of dollars, how would you even come close to messing that up? And I saw what's his name? Ooh, if I can remember this guy's name, Jason Whitlock. Oh boy, you already know he's a shield. Yeah, he tries to act like this, rebellious against the system, type of dude. That's what he tries to act like. And he's really not. He's just another shield for the system. But he came out with the gambling thing. Everybody gets a shot at it to, act like they're telling the truth about it, but they're really not telling the truth about it. But he tried to say that because it was something, he said that, what was this guy's name from Toronto? I forget the guy's name now. He made over, I think, 130 million in his career. Now, he got sued. What was it for? He got sued for something. And it was only for like $8 million or something like that. And then he goes, that's just these young people. They go broke because they don't know how to deal with their money. You give these young people all this money and they don't know how to deal with it. And they go broke. Folks, they ain't got no money. They did not give these players this money. First of all, we're saying that guy made 100 and something million. Nobody even knows him. Who the hell is that dude? You know what I'm talking about, the guy from the Raptors. Who the hell was he? You got to be like, I guess if you're like a gambler, I guess you know him. But most NBA fans don't even know him. Right? But no, he's just a shield. That's all Jason Whitlock is. He's trying to cover up and make you, think that these guys really make this kind of money. And this is another thing is too with this gambling thing, that they're trying to push that these guys are broke and they don't know how to handle their money. That's why they're gambling. No, folks. They ain't making that kind of money. They ain't making that kind of money, period. Okay? First of all, where would they get the money to give these NBA NBA players this kind of money that they're telling you that they're making? Second of all, why would you give them that type of money when the league is tanking and it's because of them? They are the product that nobody wants to buy. So why would you give them more and more and more money if the consumer ain't consuming the product? And the consumer ain't consuming the product because of the product. And the product is the players. How dumb does this sound, folks? How dumb does it sound? Only in the NBA, right? That's the only job, the only company that could be tanking and the company's going down, and it's been going down for years. That a company is still able to give the employees all this money for not doing a good job, and the company falling apart, and just hit the employees with just, raises that's just outrageous. How does that make any sense? What makes sense to me is the way these guys move during the season and when they retire. That tells me that they're not making this kind of money, and that the only reason why they're telling you, and also the way that the company is going. But to me, the only reason why they tell you these guys are making this kind of money is so they can keep the league at a value, right? It's almost like, okay, why do they tell you these sports players even make this kind of money? Let me ask you that. Don't matter if it's the NBA, hockey, Major League Baseball, they're always throwing it in their fans' face. Why? So they can, you can understand why a hot dog is $80, an alcoholic drink is $150, right? I don't know. Parking is $600. They want you to understand why they're raising the rates on your ass for these things. That's what they want you to know. It's because they supposedly gave these players this amount of money. Now, in the past, okay, it was we bought it. It was good. Sports were good. The NBA was great. Oh, okay. This dude's making that kind of money. This dude's making, okay. They out there hustling. His rivalries, his defense. They're competitive. Everybody loves it. So we rock with it. Even though it was still like, damn, that's a lot of money for a damn kids game. But for a hot minute now, what's been the excuse that we're supposed to believe that these guys are making 30, 40, 50, and 60 million dollars a year for a failing product that is tanking? Where's the proof that I'm supposed to believe this? And then these guys are podcasting during the season. For one, not even concentrating on their craft. For two, trying to make money. Why would you need to make money on a podcast if you're making 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 million a year, homie? That doesn't make no sense. It makes zero sense. Why would you sit there and, low manage, not want the league to be competitive, don't play no defense if you're making 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 million dollars a year? Time to wake up, folks. Time to wake up. Something in that paperwork for the NBA says for entertainment purposes only, folks. These don't look like players that are moving in a way to where they say, we don't want to mess up this good money. Do you see that? Have you been seeing that for a minute? Because I remember when I watched the NBA back in the 80s, 90s, guess what? The play-by-play guys were criticizing the players. They did something wrong. They were schooling them, giving them a lesson. That's what they were showing us, the listeners. They was out there playing like their play depended on their next contract. They was out there playing hurt. Like, okay, if I don't play hurt, then that's it. I'm hurt. I'm no good for my next contract. Now they got to put it on a scale and say two things. Either he's hurt, I'm not going to sign him, or I'm going to give him less money. Or he didn't play hurt. He didn't play through the pain. So the next team is going to say, well, what are we going to do with that guy? He couldn't play through pain when we needed him to play through pain. And how do we know this happened? These things happen. And the game was played like that. These players did things like that. Because you have real fans back in the day, folks. That's how we know this. We had, whatever you want to say, it was real fans back in the day. You didn't show up and do your job. For one, you was going to get the business by the fans. Remember, a lot of these fans back in the day were generational fans. They mama, they daddy, you know what I'm saying? They parents, they grandparents. You had generational fans, folks. You want the fans not to show up? You want the fans to cuss you out and you sitting on the bench? Nigga, what is you sitting on the bench about? We trying to win. You think I'm joking? If you missed a free throw, you was getting cussed out by the fans. Oh, you're stupid, man. Why are you even on this team? Get that motherfucker up out of here. I'm sick of him missing free throws. I paid my money to win. This is the type of fans you have, folks. Don't matter what arena you was in. It don't matter. The shenanigans that's been going on in the NBA since at least 2015, those those arenas will be empty from 2015 until today if they pull those shenanigans in the NBA in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s. Are you serious? You're telling me LeBron James could jump super team? He couldn't even have no damn announcement back in the 90s or the 80s. Are you serious? Are you serious? He couldn't have no decision. What the hell is this guy making a decision about? He just choked in 2007, 8, 9, 10. A decision to do what? You better make a decision to work on your motherfucking game and get back to the basics. You can't shoot. You ain't got no paint game. You a fake Magic Johnson with your little 7 assists. You ain't no king. Man, they would have clowned this dude. This is how soft the world has gotten, folks. Nobody will be showing up to the NBA arenas for the shit that they've been pulling for the last 10 years and counting. This is how you know these fans that's going to these arenas, at least for a hot minute, ain't real fans. They just want to see entertainment. And that's fine. But they're not real fans. They're not real fans. I'm sorry to tell you. The stuff that's being pulled now, and we just went through this. We just went through all this low managing. We just went, and these guys are doing this already. They're doing it already. They're already in the season. You just had the whole damn season off. Most of y'all didn't even make it far in the playoffs, if you even went to the playoffs. I'm lost. What happened? What had happened? Somebody let me know something. The NBA is a disgrace. It's the most disgraceful sport of all time. It went from being the best to being the most disgraceful sport of all time. You're getting up here and you're talking about these YouTube. We're just talking about the same thing over and over and over again. And I saw something this morning with Sports and Fitness Rants and Carmelo Anthony saying all this ludicrous stuff, you know, about LeBron James. It's just crazy, man. And these guys know what they're saying, but this is their job. Folks, if these guys really was getting paid this kind of money, they would not be acting like this. Okay? They won't be selling their souls. They're selling their souls because they've been given an opportunity to make some money post NBA. That's about it. They ain't got no money like that. But just to get more money, they got to sell their souls. Now, I'm not trying to say they're broke or they didn't make millions. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Once again, I'm not trying to say they didn't make millions. What I'm trying to say is, I don't believe the contracts that they're talking about. They say they're getting. Because of one, the way they move, for two, the league ain't in a good place. It hasn't been for a long time to be giving these guys that kind of money. So whatever you want to believe, that's fine. It doesn't really, it don't affect me. But these guys are going to keep doing the same things year after year. And it's not like they don't know what they're doing or whatever. It's to keep ish stirred up. That's all they can do. There's no on-court greatness in the NBA no more. That's over. If you was looking for that, you might want to go back to the past. You ain't gonna find it in this NBA, and it ain't been around for a while. So their game is just sold off of a shenanigan soap opera. That's all you're gonna get is a shenanigan soap opera. Dude saying a whole bunch of stupid stuff. Of course they know what they're saying. They say stupid stuff every single day. That don't make no sense. But it's to get, like I told you guys, it's to get a reaction. If they basically work for the NBA. So if they say something stupid like that every single day, it gets you to talk about the NBA and react about the NBA. And that's the only thing that keeps the NBA alive. Shenanigans. So I'm not trying to hate on people who got a YouTube channel, but just realize, well, some of them I am, but just realize we're the only thing that's keeping the NBA alive. Because if we didn't react to what they said and act like they don't know what they're saying, of course they know what they're saying when they say these stupid things. But remember, we're the only people that's keeping the NBA alive. Social media. And because of that, they don't have to, show on-court greatness or exhibit on-court greatness. Therefore, you won't have ever any real fans come into the game like you had real fans back in the day. Because again, these fans don't hold these players to a standard. If you held these players to a standard, go watch the game. Why are you watching the game? If they're allowed to travel, carry, low manage, don't play no defense, there's no rivalries. They're not even playing real basketball no more, guys. They're just playing hot potato at a 3-point line. So if we actually held these players to a real standard, like they did in the past, those stadiums, arenas would be empty. They would be empty. I mean, I would never pay any money to go watch these guys play. Would you pay money if you saw somebody painting a house, then they're just splashing paint all over the place, going out the lines and everything like that? Would you want to pay that painter to paint your house? No. That's why I want pay to go see these guys play. They don't play by the NBA rules, folks. To me, they're not even real NBA players. And they don't seem like real professionals to me. Because like I said, Michael Jordan, yes, okay, if he got called for a carry, travel, whatever, in a game, yes, he was mad because sometimes he didn't. But he wanted you or the referees to call him for a carry and a travel and things like that, offensive foul. Because if you didn't call it on him, you couldn't call it on Magic. You couldn't call it on Bird. You couldn't call it on, Ewing or Akeem or the mailman. You couldn't call it on them if you didn't call it on Jordan. So, of course, Michael Jordan will want you to call it on him if he's doing it. Because the same standard was across the board. You think Karl Malone getting away with all these damn elbows? No. Foul, foul, foul. There's no standard in the NBA. That's why you can't tell me these guys are professional players. Just as a professional player, you will want a standard to be upheld. You will want travel, carry, and whatever the rules is to be called on you. So they could call it on whoever, the opponent. But that ain't what these players want. These aren't competitors. These ain't real referees. Would you want the police just to let people speed down the road 100 miles an hour and not do his job all the time? And once in a while, yeah, we'll pull somebody up. But you see all day people going, 30 miles, 40 miles an hour or the speed limit on a regular road. Or just, people breaking the law all the damn time, doing just different things. Would you support the police department? Would you be in an uproar? Would you call these guys real police officers? I mean, it's got to be something there, guys. We got to start living in reality. These guys ain't real professional players. I'm not saying they can't be, but the league don't want them to have professional standards, aka rules. And they don't want themselves to have it. So they want to tell you that these players is making all this money, but yet they can't even follow the damn rules. And yet you're giving them all this money for not following the rules. No, folks. There's no standard on these guys, and they don't have to follow the rules because they're not making this kind of money. Plain and simple. They're gambling because they're not making that kind of money. They're low managing because they're not making that kind of money. They could come out and say it, but they're not going to say it because it'll ruin the whole NBA. They can come out and say it, but it's going to ruin the money they are getting. Which again, I'm not trying to say they're not getting millions. I just don't believe they're making the contract that we've been told. And I ain't talking about, oh yeah, you got to think about taxes and lawyers. And no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about they're not even making anything close to that. Close to the 60 million, 20, 30, 40 million a year that we've been told. I don't believe it. There's nothing to get me to believe it. Even a lot of these ex-players, I don't believe they made that kind of money. Just the way these guys move. And then now, it's so bad now, they're throwing it all in your face by the way these guys move. Different things that they do. It's all in your face. That's why I tell you, when I get done with the Bill Russell series, I'm just glad I'm moving on, man, because who can wake up every day? I guess people like this is their livelihood. I don't know. I make pretty good money at my job. I don't need to wake up every morning and scream at the same shit that's been going on for the last 10, 15 years. That's never going to change. And, these guys come up on their platforms and they talk about the same thing about these NBA players, but they just want to say just cause. They're doing it just cause. No, they're doing it because of reason. And the reasons is why, because I just told you. But they're never going to tell you because they need Mazza to guide them along. When I tell you guys, these guys were faking injuries last year and throwing games, I was right. Come talk to me when Victor Wembanyama don't make it through the season, folks. Come talk to me when everything is going to be looking crazy because, OKC looking good now. They ain't going to make it, folks. Unless LeBron James announces retirement. But as long as LeBron James is playing, ain't nobody going to win another title. They already won a title in the 2020s as long as LeBron. I want to be wrong, but I've been right every year. These guys low manage because they don't want to play. They're not making that kind of money, bro, that you've been told. They were making that kind of money, they'd be out there killing it. Killing it. Not trying to mess up the money. But they just play enough to make them stars or whatever, level they're on so they can lie about the next contract. That's it. That's it. Remember, the league is pushed by the media. Look how they've been pushing LeBron James all these years as a great player, number one, number two. The league is pushed by the media. 90%. 90% of what sells the league is the NBA media. It is off of straight lies. Therefore, these guys don't have to go out there and earn a motherfucking thing. Because not only is it pushed by the NBA media, and because they ain't making this kind of money. The NBA back in the day had a NBA media, but it was very small. They don't put the NBA to sell it Not on the top 5 players who are international players. They ain't got to sell the game. They go back home in off season. Not the players. They put it on the media. And also they put it on, just players saying a whole bunch of dumb stuff to get reaction. They don't have the men. I'm telling you guys, this goes back to LeBron James all the way in 2007, when he went to the finals and nobody wanted to see this fool. The lowest ratings of all time. This was supposed to be the next. Imagine Michael Jordan showing up in his fourth, fifth year to the finals. I don't give a damn who was there. If Mike got the lowest ratings of all time. Damn. The NBA already knew their ass was in trouble. Start these debate groups. Fired up because nobody is interested in in LeBron James, our main sell. That's tough. He was young. He playing Spurs. Say what you want. You just can't have the lowest rating finals. Or you got the second. You can't have the third. You can't have the lowest. They've been trying to push a dude that not only is a failure, a choke artist, a meltdown artist with no real game on a high level, but also trying to push a dude that nobody wants to see. And after 2007, he didn't show up in 2009 or 10 in the finals because he knew if Kobe beat his ass, his entire image was over. So he wasn't showing up again in the finals without a super team. One, he could blame somebody else, one of them super team guys. And for two, that's the only way he had a chance to win. So it didn't matter who was going to be back in the finals when he finally went. He just needed super teams. If it was going to be against Dallas, which we saw he still got his ass beat. If it was going to be against the Lakers, if it was going to be against the Suns or the Spurs, the next time he went, he already knew he needed a super team. He just got swept, folks. Not only did he get swept, he pooped all over the floor. So the fans already knew. They already knew. Well, damn, good thing we didn't watch him. He did exactly what we thought he would do. Not change our minds. Whoa, okay, he got 2 games off him and he played good. Or he got swept and he put up all-time great numbers and went down like an OG. No! The NBA's been over since this nigga fucked up in 2007. And they have did nothing since but try to make a mockery out of the game. That's all they can do, folks. They don't have nothing else.